Well, greetings, all you recovery fine type like people. This is the Monty Man. Welcome back to our little YouTube experience here and the Monty Man's Meditorials. Um, we're kind of back in the swing a little bit, I suppose you could say. We haven't been on YouTube for quite a while, and I know many of you have subscribed and really haven't gotten anything new from us in quite some time. But I'm going to try my best to come on at least once a week and give you my very controversial and opinionated opinions about certain things in recovery. And, well, some aren't going to be so controversial as you might think. Some will be. And today's may be a little bit. I want to talk to you a little bit about prescription medication and recovery, particularly 12-step recovery. Many of you are members of different 12-step fellowships, such as Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, Celebrate Recovery, Alcoholics Victorious, and Overcomers Outreach. The list can go on and on. All are 12-step based. And there is a lot of controversy within many of these fellowships to take medications, mind-altering medications such as Vicodin, hydrocodone, Oxycontin, different types of medication that deal with pain management. Now, Vicodin, for instance, and Percocet and Perconaz, those aren't pain management medications. Those are post-operable medications for after surgery to help with pain in one's recovery. But medications like oxycodone, Oxycontin, morphine, fentanyl, and so forth, these are medications that are primarily used for pain management, and they are very, very strong. Here some time back, I had some severe back issues, and I ended up having to take fentanyl, the fentanyl pain patch. Now, fentanyl is 90 times stronger than morphine. And I didn't feel high. I didn't have any kind of euphoria. There was no mind-altering thing going on at all because the pain was so severe. The fentanyl was doing its job, and it was going to the pain and taking care of the pain. Now, I will tell you this, however. When it came time to wean off the fentanyl, it was the most horrible experience I'd ever gone through in my life. I have not been through anything mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally as bad as withdrawal from this fentanyl. Now, I was under a doctor's care, and it was not a relapse. I wasn't considered not clean. It was something that was necessary because of back procedure and so forth. But I will tell you, quite honestly, I would rather deal with the severe back pain than ever have to take that medication again. Now, having said that, I believe it is very important that we realize that as a fellowship, as 12-step fellowships go, we are not doctors. Now, we have doctors, of course, in our fellowships. You know, let's not get ridiculous here and mince words. That's not what we're talking about. But as a whole, we are not doctors. And I believe that we shouldn't be diagnosing people as members of 12-step fellowships and telling people whether they should be taking meds or getting off their medication, whatever kind of medication it may be. Now, we all are very opinionated in recovery. We know that. And sometimes it gets a little ridiculous, and sometimes it gets kind of silly and funny and humorous, but sometimes it can be deadly, my friends. And there have been many people who have listened to the well-meaning advice of brothers and sisters in recovery, have stopped taking their medication, whatever kind of medication it may be for, whether it's insulin, whether for diabetes, whether it is an antidepressant because maybe they deal with chronic depression or anxiety disorder, maybe it's a pain medication, whatever it may be. And well-meaning friends, families, and so forth in recovery have said you need to stop taking your medication because you're really not clean and sober if you're taking that. Now listen, if you're taking medication under a doctor's orders or a psychiatrist or nurse practitioner, and you are concerned that maybe you have not been diagnosed properly, please go get a second and third opinion. But don't stop taking your medication because some well-meaning person in the program has told you to do that. You could end up becoming very, very sick. And, you know, those of you who are advising people of that, you could end up killing somebody. In fact, that has happened on more than one occasion within our 12-step fellowships, where somebody who's meant well has suggested to somebody else to stop taking their mental illness medication, for instance, and they've gone into seizure and have passed away or ended up back into an institution. Please don't do that. I think it is very important that we realize that we are not professionals. Leave this stuff up to the professionals. Now, there are people that have gone in to see a psychiatrist or a medical doctor or a professional in the area of mental illness who have just gotten into recovery. They haven't been sober. They haven't been clean very long at all. And of course they're depressed. Of course there is going to be obvious signs of anxiety and maybe even some schizophrenia. You know, detoxing from alcohol, detoxing from heavy narcotics can sometimes mask itself as different kinds of mental illness. And yes, I know there's misdiagnosis, and I think it's a terrible thing. That's why I recommend that people get a second and even third opinion. Please let your nurse practitioner or let your psychiatrist, whoever who is giving you prescriptions to medication, let them know how long you've been sober or clean, how long you've been in recovery. Be upfront and honest with them. If you don't, you just may be signing your death warrant. Bottom line, we are not the professionals. Please do not tell your friends and family members and your other members of your 12-step fellowships to stop taking medication or to go on a certain medication without a doctor's, the protective covering of a doctor's, what's the word I'm looking for? Supervision. Okay? It can be deadly, right? There are certain medications, they have their place. And I would love to see people be able to be totally medication free, wouldn't you? Yeah, we can be squeaky clean and no more cigarettes and no more caffeine and eating properly and exercising and all that kind of thing. But the fact is that's probably not going to happen to the degree that utopia would suggest. So one day at a time, my friends, and working with each other. Remember, if you're in recovery and you've made the decision to stop drinking for good, for good and for all, like the founders talked about, and you're doing life one day at a time, and you're doing the deal, you're going to your meetings, you're depending on a power greater than yourself. Good for you. Keep up the good work. But if there's outside issues that involve medication, please leave it up to the professionals. I can't emphasize it enough. All right, until our next little meditorial to meditate on and the editorial to have an opinion about. This is the Monty Man. I'm wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Don't forget to check us out at take12radio.com on your internet dial. Bye-bye for now.